Today we are talking about my favorite pressure washer, which is right back there if you can see it, which is the AR Blue Clean 630. So I'll talk to you about my favorite features about the pressure washer, why I don't recommend it to beginner detailers, and just give you a high level overview, pros and cons about this unit. And if you want to check out the product, I'll have it linked down below. Now this isn't the most premium, top of the line pressure washer that you can find. There's always something better out there, but this one, I believe we purchased it for $640, and it only comes with the pressure washer alone. It doesn't come with a hose, a gun, a wand, a tip, or a reel. So that's almost $700 in just the pressure washer alone. Now that being said, if you are one of those detailers right now that you're trying to start your business, that you're looking at a lot of other detailers and opening up all the YouTube videos and opening up all the links that we're recommending, I don't recommend you purchase this one if you're just getting started. It's a fantastic pressure washer. It has a lot of great features. It's a high quality build. We use it every single day. But if you don't have customers and you're not making money right now, this is not the pressure washer to buy. For many years, when I was mobile, when we were at the shop, when I was by myself, when we had a team, I was using the Karcher 1700, which is $150. And I did dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of customers' vehicles with that kind of pressure washer. We also had a Greenworks pressure washer in our mobile van, in our $21,000 Ram 1500 ProMaster. And we were still doing dozens and dozens and dozens of vehicles with a $100 pressure washer. So if you're just getting started and you're trying to find what the best pressure washer is, go purchase something that's a lot more budget friendly. Because yes, this is great, but at the given of where you are in your stage of business, I do not recommend a $700 pressure washer for just the pressure washer alone. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, this pressure washer is a very premium build. Now, I'm not a review guy. I'm not a review channel. I'm not here to purchase 10 different pressure washers and to test every single one and to let you know the pros and cons of each one. I run a business. I purchase the tools and products based on what we need and what's within our budget, and that's how we end up using what we have. So with this pressure washer, it's a fantastic unit. One of my favorite features of this unit is the ability to adjust the PSI, okay? So for instance, with the Karcher 1700 or most pressure washers, you get a unit that can do 1500 PSI, 1700 PSI, 19, 2100, and it stays there, right? Which isn't bad, but sometimes you want different pressure if you're cleaning the engine versus the wheels, or if you're spraying down just the door jambs and you want to minimize water, right? Or maybe you just don't want to use that much water in general. Maybe the car is not that dirty and you can get away with using very minimal water or minimal pressure and still get the job done. So with this unit, it allows us to fine tune the PSI based on what we need it for. So it's not like we're changing it on every vehicle, but for instance, if we're working on if we're doing an interior deep clean, right? And we need to hit the door jambs, we will lower the PSI. That way we can still work, and I can very specifically hit the door jambs without causing a lot of overspray, without getting water in the interior, or without making a mess on the ground, right? Or maybe it is an engine detail and it's really not that bad. There's no reason for us to have to go and just spray it with 2100 PSI. Instead, I'll lower it down to whatever setting, to a minimal setting, and it's just a lot less pressure comes out of the wand, and we're just able to control the PSI. So that's one of our favorite features of this pressure washer, is adjusting the PSI. Next, the overall build quality of the unit, at least from what I can see, is pretty good. Now, we did have one issue with the pressure washer. I forget what it was because I think it was around 3 years ago now. I forget what it was, but we took it to a pressure wash repair place, and they literally didn't charge us because I forget what it was, so long ago. We barely looked at it because we were mobile. We went to go drop it off and kept on working. But some little tab came loose. They just pushed it back in and it started working again. So as far as reliability, I'm gonna say it's holding up very well. We've had no issues with it. It is pretty heavy, so I don't see you bringing it up and down, but if you're doing this mobile and you bring everything out of your vehicle, let's say every night or every weekend, which a lot of detailers do, it's quite heavy. For us, whether we were mobile or here at the shop, it stays stationary, so we've never had an issue of moving it back and forth. So as far as the weight, we've never really dealt with it because it's always stationary. And yes, a big con to this is it's like $640, $660 for just the pressure washer alone. So once you include the gun, the wand, the tip, the hose, and the reel, you are probably looking at around $1,000 or more, depending on the size of the hose, the brand of gun. You're looking at somewhere around, let's say, $900 to $1,200, depending on what you're purchasing. So up here is the setup. We have a 50-foot, is it a Cobra Jet? A 50-foot hose. The hose reel, I think, was, I don't even know, like $100, $150. And then we have the NTM gun plus the wand plus the tip. And we have a few other wands and tips and such, but that's kind of the full setup that we have. So it's a big con because for, call it $640, like that's a lot for just the unit alone. And if you are doing this in a professional setting, it kind of makes, you don't really need a stock hose and wand, because if you're purchasing a $700 pressure washer, more likely than not, you're gonna make the upgrades to make it perform better, right? So even on the Karcher 1700, now here's where it helped. On the Karcher 1700, that was $150, we used the same setup, right? So when we did upgrade our pressure washer, we didn't purchase anything different. We just changed out the pressure unit, the pressure washer unit itself. Because on the Karcher 1700, if you wanna purchase that one, I would highly advise you upgrade from the stock crappy little hose and wand to a more professional, thorough, reliable pressure washer setup. So I would if you have a limited budget, which most of us do, I would spend $150 on a pressure washer, and then spend the $200 to $400 upgrading everything else, and I would get to work like that. And when you get to the point where you can purchase a more expensive pressure washer, when it makes sense to purchase a more expensive pressure washer, then you go out and purchase whatever unit that you want. You use the already existing setup that you have. You might have to change a thing or two here, but overall, like the wand, the hose, the reel, that all stays the same. And then now you have a fully upgraded, much more premium pressure washer unit. And I'll just end on that last note of don't get into your mind of thinking you need the best, because there is nothing best, okay? Purchase the best you can within the budget that you have. If you always want to look for the best, well, you'll always just keep on buying. And if you're doing this as a business, first, if you're doing this as a hobby, I mean, purchase whatever you want, just for fun. But if you're doing this as a business, you can't just have the mentality of like, oh, there's a $150 pressure washer, but Oscar's saying this $700 one is way better, so I want that one. Well, if you follow that mindset with literally everything, you could purchase a $200 polisher, but with that mindset, oh, let me go get the $500 polisher. And, you could start with a $700 budget to start your business. But if you have this like, oh, I only want the best mentality, well, now that budget needs to balloon up to what? $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, depending on all what you're looking at, right? If you have that like, I only want the best. Well, the best is better for the most part, but there's always a time and place to purchase these more premium tools and products. It's not when you're first getting started, right? If you're gonna be in business for the next 10 years, you have plenty of time to get to that part in your business where it makes sense to make those upgrades. So that's gonna end the video right there. Wanted to keep it short and simple and to the point. I'll leave the link to the pressure washer down below. I will talk to you on the next one.